Hello everyone, my name is Joe, welcome to the Genius of Joe, and today we're doing a camera review, Canon R6 review. Sorry for the iPhone mic, well I was trying to use my Rode mic and it just won't fucking connect, so I'm guessing we're just sticking to the phone today, the voice memo app. Anyway, let's get on with the video. So first, let me introduce myself as a photographer. So I'm mainly known for my portrait photography, but I do on the side I do a lot of wedding photography and a lot of events like gigs, weddings, like I said, all that type of stuff. But yeah, mainly known for the portrait stuff. And my last camera being the Nikon D3500, which is about a £300 camera, little beginner camera. So this is a massive upgrade. Yeah, it's a very big upgrade. So I have a lot to say about this camera today. I've not owned a lot of equipment that I've used, but I've had a lot of opportunities to use a lot of Canon stuff, like all the 5D cameras, Mark IIs, Mark IIIs, Mark IVs, the R5, R6 before I actually owned it, the EOS R, and obviously the different like prime zoom lenses, EFs, RF lenses, all that type of stuff. Because due to my wedding photography, I'm usually a second photographer, and the main photographer usually gives me some of his equipment to use if I don't obviously own it already. I don't think I really need to introduce this camera, really. I think everyone knows it, but yeah, it is the first, well, not one of the first Canon mirrorless cameras on the market. I got it about 2 years ago, and yeah, it's obviously the 2-year review. I'm showing my experiences and everything. I don't expect anything like super technical with like doing autofocus tests and all that stupid shit. As you mean, I feel like there's plenty of videos and that type of stuff, you know what I mean? It's like if you want to watch an autofocus video on a Canon R6 or something like that, or ISO like test, just watch those videos. I'm not going to be doing that today. I'm going to be more focusing on my personal experience and what photos I've taken and my results and everything. Yeah, so I've had the Canon R6 for about 2 years now, mainly using it for, again, portraits and wedding photography. This camera has been so reliable. I just haven't seen any performance drop in the last 2 years I've had it. It's been perfect. It's not slowed down or anything like that. I love the back screen shooting, and as I know that comes with any mirrorless camera. That's a feature of any mirrorless camera, not just the R6. But as someone who used the Canon 5D like series when shooting weddings, I just found it so useful. Now with the back screen, I can get shots with like I can go really low, really high up. I can get really awkward shots if it was on the viewfinder. But for the back screen, it's so easy to get. And I thought with the viewfinder, you're stuck with the eye level type of compositions. Yeah, you can go low down, but are you really, especially when you're tired, are you really just gonna like prone on the floor to get a shot? Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to just go down low and just look at the back of the screen, or really high up and look at the back of the screen. Right? I sometimes I'd have to like wing it and just do that without seeing the back of the screen and just shoot it and see what it looks like. And sometimes it would turn out well, but because of the back screen now, I can actually see what I'm looking at, and it's great. And with the electronic viewfinder, knowing that I can see the exposure before the image is taken, it's just great. It's just so convenient how I'm able to just like, okay, I can see the exposure already. I don't have to like take a photo and check the exposure. I can just know the exposure off bat from looking at the back of the screen and start shooting. Saves so much more time. That's why I don't really understand. Yeah, shooting DSLR is cool, but it's just not the way anymore. It's so outdated, and I feel like, yeah, I'm not saying you can't get good photos with DSLRs. Obviously, you can still get good photos with DSLRs, but if you're actually a professional and you do event photography, like weddings and all that stuff, mirrorless is just the way. And also mirrorless has way better ISO capabilities, which I will discuss soon. Sorry, water just hit my phone and just switched the app, but we'll discuss that soon. But I'm out here in the parks, mate. My shoes are so muddy right now. Look at this. Look at that. Being able to know what the image looks like beforehand, before you've even taken the photo, is just an amazing thing. Again, I know this is not a Canon R6 specific thing. This is more a mirrorless camera thing, but again, it's really good. I'll explain to you why later, why I think you should get the R6 instead of other mirrorless cameras. But for now, I'm just telling you that it's just an amazing thing. Another feature I've been using recently on this camera is the electronic shutter. Now, the electronic shutter I don't usually use it because it's usually used for high frames per second, like quick, fast, like that type of trigger finger type of shots. Trigger finger type of shots, if that's the word, yeah. But I've been mainly using it for the silent shutter. Because recently I've been doing a lot of film shoots, like BTS. I've been taking a lot of BTS photos on film shoots, and having that silent shutter where it's literally just no sound is so good for the situations, because now I can take photos of actors and of crew during takes, during doing all this stuff without even actually disturbing them, without distracting the actors from the scene, and without like disturbing the sound of the scene. Disturbing, because obviously you don't want to hear shutter clicks in the background when you're editing the film, you know. So it's really good for that, right? And you're able to get the actors are able. You're able to capture the best moments, because when the actors are actually acting in the scene, that's when they look most dramatic, and you just get the best photos and that type of stuff. So I'm just very specific, but I feel like a lot of people who use DSLRs for BTS, like unit stills, they can't take photos during takes. I've literally known people that shoot DSLRs who have done this type of stuff, like going on film shoots, film sets, and taking behind the scenes photos, and they literally can't take photos during the take because they have a DSLR and it's really loud shutter. But with the electronic shutter and the I almost said shitter then. I feel like I've been saying shitter when I was like kind of rehearsing this. I kept saying shitter. I don't know why. Anyway, so with the electronic shutter, making it silent, you don't have to worry about that at all. This bitch on, bro. There's this person who keeps fucking walking through here, bro. And she's on her phone, she's fucking wandering around this area, circling, and it's fucking weird, man. Okay. And also, with the electronic shutter, you could really be like a fly-in-the-wall photographer. Like, you won't even be noticed sometimes. I know I'm a pretty sexy guy, I'm a pretty massive guy, so I'm sometimes not really unnoticeable, but I try my best, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I'm in no place to discuss the rolling shutter with the electronic shutter. I don't know if there's proper issues with it. I don't really experience rolling shutter because I don't really do sports photography where I have to take like a bunch of photos at once, so I don't have to worry about that. And I think if you don't really shoot anything but sports, you don't really need to use that. Why are you like shooting at like 40 frames per second on the camera, as in for photos, if you're doing stuff like a portrait shoot? Or even like weddings, you don't have to do that. Like, I feel like this is stupid. Like, for sports it's different because everyone's like moving really fast, fucking 10 miles, 50 miles per hour, but not if you're doing, again, even like most events you don't have to do. Wedding photography, when you're taking photos of people laughing, they're not like moving up 50 miles per hour to get a fucking photo of them laughing. Just click it more than a couple of times. You don't need fucking 60 photos of the same thing, because that makes it a hassle in post, right? So for that sort of stuff, you don't need it. Anyway, that's a massive tangent right there. Yeah, the autofocus on this camera is absolutely amazing, right? It's the main reason why I picked it over the EOS R. At the time, obviously, it was only the R5, R6 and the EOS R, right? I wasn't going to get the R5 because it was way out of my budget. So it was between the R6 and the R5, the EOS R. And I picked the R6 because I used the R before, the EOS R, and I didn't like the autofocus. It was just slow. I feel like it wasn't fast enough. I didn't like it. It wasn't like, it just missed the mark so many times. And I've watched YouTube videos on it, and even you compare the two, yeah, like the R6 is way better than autofocus. And I did use the R6 at another point. I rented it out and I did use it at one point. And yeah, the focus was amazing. I just knew it was the camera for me, so I had to buy it. I feel like it was a valid reason to get it. The eye autofocus is amazing, like almost never missing its mark. However, when the lighting is quite dark or bad, it doesn't have to be bad. If it's a little bit dark, I notice it does miss its marker slightly. If it's well lit, it's like fine, but even if it's moving, no matter how fast it's moving. But if it's quite low light, there's shadow in the eye, sometimes it just messes up and it's really annoying. So one thing that I actually do, I don't think any other photographer does this, right, is set the default autofocus to the 1 point AF. So it's just a square in the middle of the screen and you can move around, right, like the traditional way of like a DSLR. And then make one of the buttons, go into settings and make one of the buttons activate eye for autofocus. So for me, I have the star button on the top right of the camera. I'll probably put on the screen how to like do it, like a little tutorial on how to like do it. I did it like when I first got the camera, so I don't remember right now, but obviously I'll look through it and I'll show you how to do it. And so basically you have it on the normal shutter, and when you want to have it at eye autofocus, you just hold it down and then take the photos. And yeah, I know you have to hold the button down while taking it, but it's really not that awkward. Obviously if you have it on like the top right here, you could just go like this. It's really just that easy like that. It's not hard, you get used to it. And when you have it like that, again, you'll just hold it down, and if the eye autofocus is messing up, just take it off, take your finger off it, and then just go normal. And it just saves so much time, and it just saves you from going into the settings, changing the autofocus. That's what I did initially, I think, and after like a week or so of having the camera, I changed it to that. I don't know where I got the idea from to do that. I don't know if I got it from a YouTube video or just got it just like for myself. I did my own idea. I don't know, but I don't know if I'm the first one to do this, mate. Am I the fucking revolutionary photographer? Of course, you know what I mean? The train's walking past again. When you're doing event photography, you want to capture those candid and those perfect moments, right? So if you're spending time fiddling through the fucking settings, like, oh, autofocus, change it. Like, if you're doing that, you're going to miss moments. So now you can just go like that, hold it down, boom, hold the button down, boom. And there'll be times I'm on shoots where I'm literally holding that button down the whole time, and I'll literally never use a single point. And you might think just change it to auto at that point, but it's just like I might just hold it down. It's just easy. I know there might be some points where I want to just let go of it and just do this and lose one point. And obviously not all the time am I shooting faces. Like I'm shooting normal people. I'm shooting like objects. I don't know, landscape photography, or I don't know, something like that. So I'm taking pictures of the decorations at the wedding venue, or if I'm on a portrait shoot, I'm taking pictures of the props if I'm using, all that type of stuff, right? You just want to configure the camera and make the settings as convenient as possible for you. So now onto the lenses that I've used. So right now I own a 16-35 Canon EF 2.8, the Mark II version, L series, the Canon RF 85mm f2, and the Sigma EF 50mm 1.4, which actually I recently got that lens because I replaced it with my little Canon RF 50mm 1.8, the really tiny lens. I love that lens, but I sold it mainly for like the filter size, but whatever. This is not a review on the lenses, of course. Obviously, despite the fact I've been talking about event photography throughout the whole video, basically, I do mainly do portrait shoots. So I mainly use the 85 and the 50mm, not really 16-35. And I can't stress this enough, but you need a good lens to pair with a good camera. If you have a $2,000 body, you can't spend like only a couple, like I don't know how much on a fucking lens, right, on a cheap lens, and expect the quality just to be as good as if you use an expensive one. Like, no, it's not just about the body, it's also about the glass in front of it. Now, I'm not saying that you need to spend $2,000, $1,000 on a fucking lens, but you don't want to spend 95% of your budget on a body and spend the rest of it on a little shitty little lens that's terrible. I mean, obviously, if you want like a vintage lens, that's different, like a Canon FD lens or something like that. But obviously, no, that's not going to be. It's going to be manual focus and it's going to be all that sort of stuff. But if you want like an autofocus lens that you can use for professional environments, don't expect to get like a little shitty, like £200 fucking third party lens and expect amazing photos. Just saying. Again, I feel like I had the Canon RF 1.8, which is like a £150 lens. That did really good for me, but I think that was Canon, so it's a bit different, right? But if you're going to buy third party, and even then it's just 50mm, it's a fixed focal length. If you want to get like a good, nice zoom lens, like 24-70, 24-105, you're talking at least a couple £100. That's EF. You're talking like £500-600. You want to get RF, like you spend like a fucking grand, mate. That's why I don't have any RF lenses apart from the Canon 85mm, and even the 85mm Canon RF. That has like autofocus problems, and you've probably seen videos on them that the focusing is quite slow on it. It's not terribly slow. It's just when you're trying to focus on the things that have a completely different distances, it's really long. Okay, anyway, this is not an 85mm review, so I'm not going to talk about that. Yeah, anyway, for portrait photography, the camera is great. Like the autofocus is great. Again, obviously, I said the autofocus is great, all that stuff, and the ISO capabilities are so good. Like the Low light capabilities are amazing. There'll be times, even events and portraits, I'm shooting at like 10,000 ISO because there's like no light. And in post, like, there's like barely any noise. It's still really sharp, and it's great. And obviously there will be noise in there. Obviously, 10,000 ISO obviously is noise, but it's nothing that you can't bring down in post, right? Nothing that you can't bring down in post or to completely get rid of. Especially with Lightroom's AI denoise effect or reduction thing. It's like a cheat code to get rid of all the noise within your photos. It's insane. And it's a very nice feature to use for some photos. Again, I don't think you should rely on it. Like every photo you're going to denoise it, because it's very rarely are all your photos going to be really noisy. But again, if you have some of those photos, you have a gallery of photos and some of them are quite noisy, just quickly denoise them. I actually pop up some photos on the screen of photos I've denoised and just show like it doesn't even look bad. Like some of them look a bit like, I'll show you examples of more extreme examples where it's really noisy, where I had to denoise it, and it was a bit like, oh, you kind of see, but it's better than, I'd rather it be a bit smooth and look kind of weird than be like really noisy and shitty looking. You know what I mean? I'll probably make a video on that, like a video on like AI and like photo editing, because I feel like it'd be really interesting, and I feel like some people would disagree, don't think we should use AI, but you'd be surprised that I feel like my review would be quite positive about that type of stuff. In terms of general quality, it's only 12 megapixels, but it still shoots really high quality photos, especially in RAW. So I had to change the settings on the camera, mate. It's getting really bright, and then it's getting brighter. The sun just came out, so I'm just like changing the aperture. So yeah, what was I talking about? 12 megapixel sensor. Yeah, I don't think it's really like that bad. Again, I don't really understand why people care so much about megapixels. It's not because 12 megapixels it doesn't automatically mean, oh, it's a shit camera. I think that's just stupid. I understand why some people care about it, because they want to have like vast cropping capabilities. So be able to crop super far in or anything like that. And obviously for big prints, but overall, it shouldn't be the be or end all of your decision. Higher megapixels does not mean better quality in the camera. Like I said earlier, my old Nikon D3500, £300 camera, 24 megapixels, double the megapixel count, yet it's not a better camera than the R6. You know what I mean? If you think it is, sure, mate, live in your fantasy world, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's not all about megapixels at this point, really. Now, what I recommend this camera, 100%, especially if you're an event photographer, it just shines mainly for events. Like I've been saying, I think for portraits, it's still amazing for portraits, but for events specifically, it's an amazing camera that you should definitely buy. I think especially now, it only costs £1,200 used. I bought this camera for about £1,900 brand new, which at the time was a steal, because brand new it was like £2,400, so I got it for £1,900 at the time. Very good. But now it's like £1,200. Come on, the best camera for its value. There's obviously the R5, but again, that's really expensive. So R6 is probably the best one you should go for. And compared to its like other counterparts like the R7, the R8, R10, they're APS-C sensors. They're not full frame. They're not really, again, like the R6. The R6 being at a similar price, yet, but it has all those professional capabilities, right? Like all features, like, you know, eye autofocus and high ISO, full frame sensor, RF mount. Yeah, the other ones don't have that. So obviously that is the best one. That's why I think it's the best one to go for, especially if you're a professional. Yeah, overall, it's a great camera. Like overall, it's a great camera to use. You know what I mean? If I was going to give it a rating, I'm not really good at rating cameras, but I would say like about 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 is pretty good. I feel obviously, even for stuff, I wanted to quickly talk about video. It shoots 4K, 30 frames, 50 frames a second, which is great. Again, like I wouldn't use this. I personally wouldn't use this for video because I'm more of a Sony user for video. I'm literally shooting this on the FX30, so I'm definitely more of a Sony user because there's more like options for that, but I'm not talking about that now. But yeah, I'm talking about for photography in general. This thing is an amazing camera. Oh, great camera. Anyway, that is really it for the video. I'm going to be doing more camera reviews, lens reviews, lens filter reviews too. So look forward to that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and see ya. By the way, like, subscribe, comment if you actually like this type of content. I love it, so I love making it, so it's great.